Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard, the final regular season scoreboard in the NFL for this season and the first episode of 2024. So happy New Year, everyone! It was a happy New Year for me with my Niners clinching the 1 seed a week ahead of schedule. Couldn't have asked for much more, except for the Cowboys losing, but then the Niners wouldn't have clinched. So I guess it all worked out. It all worked out well for me. With all of that bragging out of the way, Smokey, how are you doing?
Oh, I am good. I am better. There's a ton of fan bases I could name right now, but I'm gonna say Eagles and stick to the NFL just for this because several college teams could be named. But the Eagles, man, there's something going on there, and like I said last week, there's definitely something wrong. I don't know exactly what it is, but they are not as good as their record, and they are doing the opposite of peaking at the right time. They are troughing at the right time right now, and it doesn't look good heading into the playoffs with their team playing like that, especially since a lot of people had them in the top three all season in the power rankings, and here they are falling. But we'll see how that goes in the playoffs for them. But how are you, Alex?
I'm good. I'm better than the guy who bet that if Bama loses, they'd only lose in the national championship and that they would never lose to Michigan. And I expected you to say that you're better than Alabama fans, but I'm glad you didn't, because obviously it's costing you money. In that case, I was lucky. But also, of course, it came down to overtime with Bama. I think it was a close game. Like it more than justified that the most correct four teams that could have reasonably been in the playoff were in the playoff. I think Texas is a better team than FSU could have been, and Georgia just probably wasn't justified being in, though of course they're much, much better team than FSU, as we also very clearly got to see this weekend, which must have been a bit of a vindication for you and a lot of Georgia fans and a lot of people who argued against FSU, including myself. But we're going to see Michigan and Washington in the national championship next week, and we can talk about this for like a second before we go. NFL. What are we thinking?
Mm-hmm.
What are we thinking about these two games, and what are we thinking about the Natty?
Well, several things. One, Alabama didn't blow it as a team. Jalen Milroe himself blew that game. And I was afraid of that. Like, his overconfidence just leads him into doing really dumb things sometimes. Like, the very last play of the game, why would you just nosedive right into the pile of people? Like, that makes absolutely no sense. I'm sure he thought, because this is the most athletic quarterback that Alabama has ever had. So he wants to be the hero. He wants to play it. He wants to take it himself. I don't know. I mean, the guy's like 6'2", 220. I don't know why he would have thought he could just bust through that giant pile of humanity that was standing right in front of him to lose that game. But he did, and I think his overconfidence in himself gets him in trouble a lot. And we saw it like in the Tennessee game earlier in the season. And there were games like Auburn where he could have blown the game himself. I think Alabama is a better team than that product on the field because they put a little too much in the hands of Jalen Milroe. And I don't think he was capable of handling. I mean, obviously he wasn't because of the mistakes he was making. But other than that, Alabama should have won that game. Overall, they're a better team. Michigan, I don't want to see Michigan win because they have been cheating for the past 3 seasons. So who wants to see them win at this point other than Michigan fans themselves? I don't think it's fair in a way, but there's nothing you can really do about it. The other game was quite surprising because I did not think Washington could beat Texas. I thought Texas was an overall better team, but it does prove that Michael Penix, the opposite of Jalen Milroe, Michael Penix is absolutely a great quarterback, and he's probably going to do really well in the NFL. He may have actually earned himself the number 1 spot over Caleb Williams or whoever, Drake May and whoever. This guy might go first overall in the draft coming up. We'll see how the combine goes. But other than that, surprising results. Georgia should have absolutely been in the playoff. Obviously, they proved it was, regardless of FSU having none of their starters out there. In the second half of that game, Georgia was playing their third and fourth string players, and for the fourth quarter, they put out the scout team quarterback, Jackson Muschamp, who would otherwise have never seen playing time in his entire career. The guy, he's a walk-on. He's only there because his dad is the Muschamp is the defensive coordinator there, and that's the reason he's there. But it was cool that he went out there also against FSU and didn't score at the very end, but he ran for a first down, which is absolutely surprising because all of those players on FSU was a better caliber than Jackson Muschamp, but even he was moving the ball on them. So it tells you that regardless of how many people sat out and opted out and didn't want to play in this game, Georgia was still a much better team than FSU. There's no doubt about it. They were one of the four best teams. I get it because they lost the wrong game at the wrong time by a very slim margin that they weren't going to get put in. No use crying over sour grapes at this point, but I think if Georgia would have been in that tournament, they would have won it because I don't see a team out there. Washington, surprising as they are, I still think Georgia beats Washington. The defense could have held up. The defense of Georgia is much better than Texas. But can't change the past. It was surprising outcomes, and Jalen Milroe is not quite ready. What do you think about him?
I think if Georgia went in, they would have had to play Michigan and Bama in that order, and I don't think they would have won the tournament if they had been in. For both of those reasons. I mean, you can blame Jalen Milroe as much as you want, and yeah, he made some bad mistakes in that game, but he also had some explosive plays that kept Alabama in it, and also he did not get much help from his offensive line, at least in the first half. He was constantly under pressure. And I'll also distribute the blame a little bit because as a defense, as the vaunted Alabama defense, you've held them to 13 points for 55 plus minutes. There's no need to allow the easiest touchdown drive of the season, damn near, for Michigan, within 2 minutes and just let them come back and tie up the game. So it's not all on Jalen Milroe, but it's sort of a team loss. It was close. Went down overtime. Milroe didn't get it done in overtime, but the defense collapsed on back-to-back possessions. And that certainly did its part in contributing to that loss. For the national championship, I'm going Michigan. I think Michigan's better. I'm surprised by the Washington win. I must say. I'm glad Texas didn't win. I think any of the other three teams probably would have or should have been able to beat Washington, but Texas wasn't able to do it. I'm still going Michigan, and I'm going to root for Michigan in the national championship just to play devil's advocate a little bit because I still like Jim Harbaugh in a way. He took the Niners to the Super Bowl and he was one of the the Niners were in a bad spot for a long time before Kyle Shanahan shut up, and Jim Harbaugh, that was 3-4 years of meaningfulness, of good football where you're excited to watch them every week and all year round, and that is something that is valuable when your team has it, and you only notice that when your team doesn't get to have it for a while. When by week 10 you just don't even care to turn on the games anymore. That's when you know to appreciate those years. So, and also I think the whole the cheating thing, I think it's more overblown than it really needs to be. Also, so I'm just gonna go root for Michigan. Plus, I like JJ McCarthy, and I want him to be a first round pick as well. Won that big quarterback draft. But we will see.
This whole season, I've been trying to figure out what is your love for Michigan, because you've always seemed to kind of be on their side through the whole thing. Now I get it. That makes sense. I never even thought about that.
I like Harbaugh as it is, right? And then yeah, sure, they might have done wrong, but not as bad as people make it sound, calling for full year suspensions or even for the entire program to be excluded from the next year's season or whatever. Craziness, or Harbaugh to be suspended, it's too much. People are hammering down on Michigan too much. Is what I'm thinking. And yeah, I also like Harbaugh. Not gonna
yeah. I never had anything against Michigan until the whole cheating thing came out, and I'm like, oh, okay. Conveniently, The season they got good is the season they started stealing signs. Now, there's a lot of conspiracy theories going around. Obviously, the two Harbaughs are going to win the championships back to back, and things like that. But there's a weird thing. Before this game happened, Nick Saban had said at a press conference, I think it was at a press conference, but the news came out, however it happened, that they were going to ban the in-air communication, the electronic communication during the game because he was afraid of hacking coming from the Michigan side. So they only went with visible signs, obviously, which is the thing that Harbaugh was caught, or the Michigan team was caught for doing, stealing signs. That didn't make any sense to me, but there are a lot of conspiracy theories going around now because of the way it's lining up, right? The Harbaugh and Harbaugh are both going to win their championships.
I think like it's time that college football embraces its like amateurish nature and roots, and they go back to like, your like little league kind of quarterback jogs to the sideline after every play to like physically hear the call from the coach and take it into the huddle kind of thing. I think that's what needs to happen. I think that's what needs to happen at this point, because nothing like they trust nothing anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's look at the
stolen playbooks, stolen signs, stolen
everything.
Yeah, digital communication. Yeah.
Just bring the play call onto the field with like a substitute player. Foolproof method.
Yeah.
Always works. Let's talk about the NFL here for a second, because we have Week 18, and this is what it all comes down to. This is what the entire season is played for, at least for a good handful of teams here. This is the week where we find out if their entire effort was worth it or not. In the AFC, we have 3 playoff spots still available. NFC, we have 2, so a total of 5 playoff spots will be given out this week. And biggest week of the year for most teams. Before we get into that, couple of things. We're playing this game every week. It's called Guess the Biggest Spread, and you've been exceptionally good at it, blown every expectation out of the water for the first season. You get it right almost every week. Can you finish up the season well and tell me the biggest spread for this entire week in the NFL?
This one actually is kind of tough. I mean, there's a few games that stand out. The Browns over the Bengals, which I think that's probably a closer spread than you would think right offhand, because the Bengals have played really well with Jake Browning. There's the Chiefs and the Chargers, which is a potential candidate for this. And then there's the Eagles and the Giants. And I'm having trouble deciding which one I want to go with here, because the Chiefs have not been exceptional at scoring points at all. So, but the Eagles are bad also. The Eagles may be worse than the Chiefs. I guess I'm going to go with the Chiefs and Chargers and say that's probably the biggest spread.
See, here's the thing, right? So the biggest spread is by far the Cowboys over the Commanders. And here's
you
why.
know what? I marked that down also, and I just looked over it. My bad.
Here's why. I think one thing you're not taking into account is actually clinching scenarios and which teams have stuff to play for.
True.
The Browns are 6-point underdogs versus the Bengals. Underdogs at Cincinnati, because the Browns have nothing to play for. They've clinched the playoff spot, and they cannot clinch the divisional title anymore. They're set. They can rest their starters. They don't have another quarterback to rest Joe Flacco, I guess, but they can rest anyone they would like to, because they have nothing else to play for. Chiefs is kind of the same issue. They've clinched the division, but it's already done. They're not making the 1 seed. They're not getting a bye week, just clinch the division. So those are the Chargers. Actually, also are favored against Kansas City by 3 points, which is unbelievable.
No way.
But you expect Patrick Mahomes not to play, and it's going to be a snooze fest, right? Like Travis Kelce was banged up for a while, Isaiah Pacheco, like a lot of injuries that probably like give guys a week off if they're able to. So Cowboys by far, because the Cowboys are still playing for the division and the 2 seed potentially, which they currently hold over the Eagles, so they have to win this one. So that is by far the biggest spread. Going into this, Yeah.
Sorry, still kind of weird though because the Cowboys have played really bad on the road this year. But that was one that I marked down that I completely overlooked. But here's the thing with these picks today, I'm going to pick them normally because, as we've seen all season, backups can come in and run an offense apparently just as good as starters. So I thought of. I thought about maybe changing some of these picks up for the teams that have nothing to play for, but I'm going to stick with my original picks because backups win in this league all season, and I think that could continue. So, not going to overthink it.
It's definitely possible. It is plausible. So there's a lot of strategizing actually going into this week. See how it turns out. Before we go into week 18, we need an update on our prediction standings because we're about to conclude the regular season. What are we looking at the moment?
Yeah, it's looking bad for me. We tied last week. We had 4 differences, and we got 2 apiece on that. I really need to make up some ground because I'm still 3 points behind. But we have the Falcons and Bears. I will never, ever, ever pick the Falcons again. That's a statement right now. I'm never picking the Falcons ever again.
Except today, right? You're picking them today?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm never picking them again. That's the only way they're ever going to win is if I never pick them to win.
True.
We had the Raiders and the Colts. I got that one. The Colts won. We had the Steelers and Seahawks, which, of course, Rudolph pulled off another one because backups win in this league, apparently. And we had the Packers and Vikings. I had the Packers, and they blew out the Vikings. That was a big-time beatdown. Total overall, 151 for me, 154 for you.
3-point difference. Okay, that's the biggest lead I have had going into a week 18. Usually we're tied. That means like this week's the biggest chance for you to make up points because once playoff time comes around, there's very few games to make up points left. So what we can do is to make it fair, we can like alternate on these games this week. So I'll go first and you go first so that like I'm not just copying every one of your picks to get like a safe win, right? So we can alternate here. And if you want me to, I'll go start. And we start off with the Steelers and the Ravens. So this is the one and only game that happens on Saturday for some reason. No, there's one more. There's a Saturday night game as well. Usually in week 18 you have them all condensed together, but this game, Ravens aren't playing for anything. In this game, I'm taking the Steelers because the Ravens aren't playing for anything. They are going to rest all their guys. They're going to throw Tyler Huntley out there. They're going to probably rest most of their defense. Mason Rudolph has been on an upswing, like you've said. He's been playing really well. And guess what? The Steelers once again have managed to avoid a losing season with Mike Tomlin. And they are in the run for a playoff seed, and they have to win this game in order to put themselves in a good position to make that playoff seed. Steelers go through.
See, I'm going to go against my original statement on this one because I actually did pick the Steelers. And the reason being that defense for the Ravens, as dominant as they've been, they are really beat up. I think they lost 3 or 4 players just in the last game. And without Lamar, I don't know. Who even is their backup now? I haven't seen. It's not Huntley anymore. Who is the backup for the Ravens now? Who's going to start this game? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I thought it was Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, I didn't think Huntley was there anymore.
He came in during the other game.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, they're probably going with Huntley, which Huntley can win games, of course, but the Steelers they have momentum. Even with Rudolph playing quarterback, that offense is finally firing. And a lot of Steelers fans are actually talking about we need to keep Rudolph as the starter next season. Probably not going to happen, but Steelers fans are always completely optimistic, just blindly optimistic on everything like that. They would, probably bring back Big Ben if they could or someone. But, I got to go with the Steelers here because that defense is too beat up and they have to be resting, of course. So I'm going to stick with the Steelers.
All right, so we agree. We agree on the Steelers. I'll let you go first on the next one here. This is also huge playoff implications, by the way. Maybe the most important one in the AFC. Texans at the Colts.
Yeah, no one is going to be sitting in this game for sure. And both of these teams are on kind of a hot streak. The Colts had that loss 2 weeks ago to the Falcons, which looked kind of ugly. But the Texans are back with CJ Stroud. Even though this is on the road, I think the Texans have the upper hand because that offense is amazing under CJ Stroud. This team is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the future as long as CJ stays healthy because they've got something going. They should add a few more offensive weapons in the draft coming up or maybe some in free agency. This team is so good. And the Colts, we've seen them blow games that they should win. Even being at home, I'm going to stick with the Texans on the road.
This is such a tough game for me to pick. It's going to come to like the winner of this game is making the playoffs, and if the Jaguars lose, that winner of this team, the winner of this game is winning the division.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth noting that the Colts have the tiebreaker at the moment over the Texans. So if the game for some freakish reason ended in a tie, the Colts would be in. Man, I still haven't fully made up my mind on this.
Mm-hmm.
These are rookie head coaches, both of which have done a great job. I'm going to agree with you. I'll give it to Houston on the road. Now, maybe it's not smart to pick against the home team in like a case like this where it's really a coin flip, but I think in moments like this is actually defense that can stand up because I expect it to be a hard-fought game, a gritty game, and defense is going to stand up in this, and that is a mentality that DeMeco Ryans has been establishing. Will Anderson has been phenomenal. He's a good candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's broken a franchise record for most sacks as a rookie, and by the way, J.J. Watt played for that franchise, so that means something. I'm going the Houston Texans are getting it done in a very close game, and they're clinching the playoffs in the first year of DeMeco Ryans.
Mm-hmm.
One game that has big implications for your Falcons is the Bucks and Panthers. And I guess I'll go first on this, right? We'll go take guys. I'll have to break this to you and rip the band early. The Bucks are winning this game. It's Carolina. They have nothing to play for. Bucks are winning the game. They're running away with the division. Meaning that simultaneously the Falcons are playing the Saints, but that game is going to be meaningless because Tampa Bay repeats for a third time to win the division.
Unfortunately, I have to go with that also. The Panthers are just really bad. I thought maybe they were putting something together, but Bryce Young is now banged up pretty good. I don't know if he's even going to start this game or not. They have nothing to play for except for draft picks, so they probably want to lose at this point. The Bucks have everything to play for. I hate it because that's how it's going to play out, and I'm going to be picking the Bucks on the road.
Browns and the Bengals.
I heard someone tell me that player for player, the Browns are the best team in the entire league.
I want to know who that someone is and where he lives. What do you mean?
It was actually a Steelers fan that told me this. The Browns are good, though, because think about it. Flacco is leading this team to victory after victory. This is Flacco. Remember Flacco with the Jets? Remember Flacco last year or so with the Ravens? Flacco is not a superstar. I mean, of course, all of the backups win these days, apparently, but this Browns team is really good. And the veteran quarterback presence actually makes them even better than, starting any of the rookie or anything like that. Maybe even better than Deshaun Watson, some say. A lot of people want to keep Flacco and get rid of Deshaun Watson, but that contract is going to keep that from happening. And the Bengals are on a downswing. Even though they played really well with Jake Browning, like I said, I have to stick with the Browns on the road.
All right. Before I'm giving my pick for this, we have to do a little thought experiment here. Okay, just answer these questions one way or the other. Okay. Joe Flacco or Brock Purdy?
On the Browns or what? Because on San Francisco,
in a vacuum, today.
Oh man, that's tough. Only playing one game or a whole season or
whole season? This 2023 season.
Man, that is tough. Because Purdy with Shanahan, I would choose that 9 times out of 10.
Okay, let me make it
But
less tough for you, right?
Flacco,
If that's too tough.
oh man,
Jerome Ford or Christian McCaffrey?
Christian McCaffrey, obviously.
Elijah Moore or Deebo Samuel?
What was the first one?
Elijah Moore.
Oh, Deebo Samuel.
David Njoku or George Kittle?
Man, Njoku was broken out, and
What?
that makes it really tough.
What
I
do you
know
mean?
Kittle. Njoku is a great tight end, no doubt. But yeah, I guess I'll lean Kittle.
Jerron Christian or Trent Williams?
Trent Williams.
Yeah, we can keep going with this. I pick up the defense here as well and more receivers. The Browns being the best roster in the league by position is preposterous. Quarterback or not, and like even picking Flacco over Purdy is a joke. But that's besides the point. I'm also picking the Browns to win this game at Cincinnati because even though they are not favored because they're expected to rest everyone, I think the Kevin Stefanski kind of mentality is that there are no games where they take it easy, even if they have nothing to play for. That's how they've been acting and behaving since he got there, and that's what's gotten them the success that they are experiencing now because they were down and out with like a million quarterbacks getting hurt, and they just kept scrapping and fighting and winning games. I don't think they have an off switch, so this is a division rival anyway. They're going into Cincinnati, they're playing hard, and they're going to win. Vikings and the Lions, I'm going first, and I'm going to make this a short one. Also, I'm taking the Lions, who were, like, in the most blatant way ever, screwed over by a terrible officiating against Dallas, and they're going to let all of that frustration out on the Cowboys, on the Vikings this week, on their way to their, best season ever so far. So, taking the Lions.
Man, we have to start disagreeing or I'm never going to catch up. But I can't go with the Vikings
Be
here.
my guest.
I can't do it. I mean, the Lions need this. I mean, they're going to win. I don't see the Vikings pulling one over on the Lions. Now, a lot of people are saying, yeah, but the Lions and the Cowboys, Lions against some of the best teams, But the Vikings aren't the best team by any means. And the Lions need this win. They need some momentum going into the playoffs. They should start all of their starters, I would imagine. Going with the Lions at home.
Yeah, I think the Lions, even though they've clinched their division already, I think they have something to play for in the sense that if they make the 2 seed, they're going to play the scraps because there's like 5 competitive teams that I'm seeing in the NFC. And then add to that the bonus spot, which is the NFC South winner. But the 7th seed are random. That's going to slide in there, like the Packers or Seattle or like even Minnesota themselves, who no one would really take all that seriously. And that's kind of the team you want to play because that's the closest you get to a first round bye without actually being the 1 seed. So the Lions, I think they want that 2 seed. They should be in that 2 seed given what happened last week, and they're going to beat the Vikings because of that. That's my rationale in this case. We have the Jets and the Patriots in the least relevant game of all time.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, this is Tank Bowl right here. Who has the momentum? I guess you could say the Patriots have a little more momentum than the Jets. The Jets have the better defense overall. It's still a Belichick defense, but I think the Jets have a better defense. I don't know what their motivation is for either of these teams winning at this point. It's really just who wants to lose less. I guess I'm going to take the home team here. I'm going to say the Patriots win at home.
Tough one because it's just so uninteresting. Let's give me the Jets. I'll take the team that has like better defense or healthier, but I think both of these teams will just play for pride, though none of them have anything to be proud of, really. I'm going to go with the Jets if they're a bit more talented of a roster. Maybe next year it'll become a more interesting one again. Mm-hmm. Falcons and the Saints. Okay, huge game, and I will go first on this one. And I will pick the Falcons because I don't have to think about this. You said you'd pick the Saints, which means the Saints are going to lose because the Falcons do the opposite of everything you say. And therefore I'm taking the Falcons to win, which will end up being meaningless anyway, because the Bucs win the division.
Yeah. Well, I've painted myself into a corner with that one, didn't I? Because the Falcons are going to win because I'm picking the Saints, but I can't pick the Falcons. They're just going to lose.
That's right.
I'm going to stick with the Saints and say that this breaks the curse. This right here is going to break the curse. Unfortunately, the Bucks get the Panthers, and every team in the league can beat the Panthers. So it will be meaningless in the end. But I'm going to stick with the Saints.
Easy point. We'll take it. And the Falcons will be perfectly 8-8. Not perfectly 8-8. 8-9. As close as it gets. And exactly what they probably deserve as well. As well as the Saints, by the way. We have Jacksonville at the Titans. Important game for the Jaguars.
Yeah, for the Jaguars. Not so much for the Titans. Like, what are the Titans' motivation? Probably nothing.
Play spoiler.
So the Jaguars absolutely need this, and we've seen that backups can win in this league. Yes, I said it again. CJ Beathard got a blowout win over the Panthers there, so this one should be easy, you would think, but I bet it's going to come down to like the last second. But I'm still going to stick with the Jaguars winning on the road.
I agree. Titans still have much to play for. Jacksonville, Jacksonville is big or go home. They either make the 4th seed and play at home during wildcard weekend, or they might just be out if they lose, because either the Colts or Texans will take that spot. And we both agreed the Steelers are going to win. So if both of those things happen, Jacksonville is out of the playoffs, which is unimaginable given what we expected of them and what they've been able to do at the start of the season. I'm still saying they make it though. So Jacksonville wins, closes it out against Tennessee. But like, there is a history of choking right in this division, especially with teams like last second, like missing the playoffs. I know the Jaguars were the team playing spoiler like a few years ago themselves. So a lot of things can happen, but I'm gonna trust Jacksonville to get this done and get this win, and hopefully get Trevor Lawrence healthy. Seahawks and Arizona. Going to go first on this. I'm going Seattle at Arizona. Maybe they'll try trotting out Drew Lock again. He's been performing pretty good the 1 or 2 times he got a chance. Maybe they'll try that. The Cardinals, I mean, they've done their job. They've done their duty. They beat Philly. That's all I needed them to do. They can move on. No really other like justification. Seattle is the one team that has a theoretical chance to make the playoffs, and they're winning the game at least. At least make an attempt. If the Packers were to lose,
a lot of people might go with the Cardinals because of that win over the Eagles, but I don't think the Eagles are as good as anyone actually thought they were all season. And the Seahawks definitely need the win. There's very slim chance that they're going to make the playoff in the end. A lot of things would have to go their way. So I'm going to be sticking with the Seahawks. I say they put it all on the line and get one over on the Cards, because just because they beat the Eagles does not make the Cardinals good. The Cardinals go down at home in this one.
We have the Bears and the Packers.
Man, this one actually is tough. I know the Bears are not going to make the playoffs. They are mathematically eliminated at this point. But the Bears are good. I know that you don't like that theory, that idea. But the Bears are actually good. Like, they stumbled a lot early in the season. But, I mean, I know beating the Falcons is not this huge accomplishment at this point in time. But the Bears are much better than their record. Like I've said several times over the past few weeks, they are really good to be that bad. And I think they're getting better. I think Fields may be saving his job here. But the Packers are coming off of a huge win. And Jordan Love is looking legit at times, and at times he's not. So both of those guys may be in the same situation after this. You know, it may be up in the air if they get to stay with their teams or if they're moving somewhere else across the country. I'm going to say this is a pick'em and give 3 points to the home team, and I will take the Packers at home.
Give me Packers too, though I don't have a strong opinion on that. What I do have a strong opinion on is that Justin Fields is moving. If not this offseason, a year from now, because the Bears are picking first overall, and with the just plethora of quarterbacks on the board, I mean, you're not gonna not take one, right?
Michael Penix, come on down.
I mean, whatever you like, really. The only thing I can think of is maybe they trade down and try to build around Fields, but I don't know. I feel like it's the kind of team that would pick another quarterback. But we will see. I'm taking the Packers. Packers to win the game. They have playoff aspirations. They currently hold the 7th seed, and they defended with a win. I didn't expect them to be in this position. I have to say, they are a very average team, which is much more than I thought they could be in their first year without Aaron Rodgers. So kudos to the Packers for being in the position to have this chance. I think they take advantage of it and beat Chicago. Chiefs and the Chargers, and on this one, honestly, I have no idea what to think about it. But this is, I think, the first time that for both teams, just it doesn't matter what happens in the game. And given that the Chiefs have had a lot of issues, both injury-wise and just performance-wise, and also just mentality-wise, the vibe doesn't seem very good in Kansas City at the moment. I'm gonna go Chargers because they're under a new regime. They're just playing fresh, new ideas. Khalil Mack's chasing Defensive Player of the Year honors. Yeah, they have a lot of young, promising players, and Easton Stick's going to play freely if he's going to be the one starting. I think Chargers get it done against Kansas City backups here and get themselves a win, just for feel good, just to close out the season and then beat the big rival.
It's tough, man, because Blaine Gabbert versus Easton Stick, this is not a marquee matchup at all. And the Chiefs have been down so much in the second half of this season. I don't know. You know what? I need the points. So I'm going to say that the Chiefs want this win even without a good bit of their starters. Not like Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey were setting the world on fire. Probably going to be a lot of drop passes this entire game on both sides. There's going to be a lot of dropped passes. I'm going to say that the Chiefs close out the season with a win going into the playoffs, and they will get their starters ready for the playoffs. And then they need the momentum anyway.
Okay, that's interesting. We have a disagreement there. Broncos at the Raiders.
This is the clown bowl right here. Oh, man, the Broncos are in such dire straits, even though they're coming off of a win. This team is such disarray, and I'm excited to see where Russell Wilson goes from here. It might just be to Atlanta. Aiden O'Connell, on the other hand, does not give confidence at all. I'm going to say this might be a pick'em, though, because we've seen both of these teams can win even with their backups. The Raiders have had blowout wins with Aiden O'Connell. So I'm going to say, since they are at home, I'll be taking the Raiders.
All right. Also a tough one to pick, actually. Neither team making the play for, both are out. Raiders probably played their most important game against Kansas City and got work done, but both of them are eliminated, with Denver not managing to get it done last week, and of course Russell Wilson benching and all that nonsense. It's just fun to watch these kinds of teams just doing what they're doing. It's like a reality show almost. I have to pick a winner in this game, huh? Yeah, give me the Raiders. I'll take the Raiders as well. I feel like they're already over the hill in terms of the coach is gone, and like there's probably less toxicity going on, less salary cap hell. Even though both of them have like questionable quarterbacks bound to them on long-term deals. Jimmy Garoppolo, you can't rely on him to stay healthy. So that could be an issue. I assume that both of these teams will be in the market to draft one in the first round. I'm taking the Raiders. They've been convincing over the past, sort of the final quarter of the season, especially defensively. They've looked good, and they'll shut down the Broncos here and get a win. Eagles and the Giants, I'll go first. I'm noticing I'm going first on the easy ones a lot. I'm taking Philly.
Yeah.
They're playing for the second seed if they win. Giants are have been a pushover for most of the year. I would love for the Giants to win this, by the way. It'd be amazing. And given how bad the Eagles have been, it's not out of the realm of possibilities, because the Giants want to play spoiler here. They almost did it last week, and they want to try to do it again this week. But I am taking the Eagles to get it done.
Yeah, they have to play their starters, and they also need a Cowboys loss to make this happen. Because right now, the Cowboys have the edge on winning that division if they both end up with the same record. The Giants can beat the Eagles. I don't know if I can talk myself into picking the Giants, because we've seen them blow it in so many spots this year. And the Eagles have so much to play for. But I feel like this is going to be a close game. And the Giants have a good shot at winning this game. But as for right now, I'll just stick with the motivation and go with the Eagles on the road.
Yeah, so we do agree on that one.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Rams and Niners. Now, this one's a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Because the Niners have absolutely nothing to play for. And we know they are going to play backups. McCaffrey is going to be out, and I'm assuming that he's not going to be the only one. The Rams have clinched the playoffs. To my dismay, I did not want to see that at all. And they have clinched. They're not going to move up from the 6th seed. Mm-hmm. They can't make the 5th seed because the NFC East. So the Rams they're pretty much set in place now. Man, I want to take the Niners, but I don't know if Brock Purdy's going to play. If Purdy doesn't play, I don't know if I can trust it. But okay, I have to believe here. I have to believe in the team, even the backups. I'm taking the Niners to win. It's a home game. Pride's going to be part of it. Niners win.
I really hate that you picked that, because I wanted to pick the Niners. And I know the Rams are a really good team, even though they almost blew it to the Giants last week. But the Rams are really good, and they're a team that nobody really wants to face in the playoffs. And probably Sam Darnold playing this, I would assume, unless somehow Shanahan thinks that Purdy still has MVP aspirations. I think that's pretty much sealed up at this point in time. Lamar Jackson's going to win that, regardless of stats and what anyone else thinks. I think it's Lamar Jackson's award to win here. But you know what? I got to stick with the 49ers, because Shanahan can win with any quarterback, and Sam Darnold is very capable. And the Rams don't have to win this. They don't have to do anything. They're locked into the wild card, and they're going to have to play in the first week anyway. I'm going to take the 49ers at home just so I don't lose a point.
I don't know if Shanahan can win with every quarterback, by the way. But he can win with a lot, which is not discrediting Brock Purdy. Just say it. He's still an elite quarterback and is going to be like a top 5 in the league for 15 years, and he's going to be great, and he's going to win MVPs. If not this year, which he probably still should, statistically speaking, then he will in the future. All besides, we agree that the Niners are going to win, I think. Cowboys and the Commanders, and that is your pick first. Wait, is it? Or
Yeah, it is. The Cowboys still have something to play for, because the Eagles game will be going on at the same time, I believe, right? Yeah, I believe they're probably playing at the same time. So they have to win this game if they want the division win here. And the Commanders are bad. They're horrible. It still gives me pause, because the Cowboys can't win on the road, apparently. I don't even know if the Cowboys have a win on the road this year. I guess they have to have that record. I'd have to look back and see, but they lose to good teams. That's absolutely obvious. But it's the Commanders. I got to stick with the Cowboys on the road.
Yeah, I mean, they're the biggest favorites of the entire week, right? Mm-hmm. I agree. Cowboys get it done. And if they do, they will lock up the 1 seed, which should be the Lions. It should belong to Detroit. But that's also, I mean, it's fine with me. Fine with me as well. Like, they're going to most likely end up playing each other again anyway, the way that it's looking in the divisional round. And then Probably going to be in Dallas either way. Shouldn't change too much. Cowboys win this week, and they can feel good about themselves for a while until they lose earlier than they expect in the playoffs, like every single year. And one more very important game. Late Sunday night. This is a big one. This could be the biggest one for playoff implications, deep playoff implications in the AFC here. Bills at the Dolphins, and the Bills with a huge comeback rallying back into this competition during the latter half of the season when they were almost looking down and out, have a chance to win the division, win the AFC somehow by beating the Dolphins. And honestly, I'm going to take the Bills. The momentum is with them. The Dolphins are having serious injury problems. They've lost both of their superstar pass rushers now, which is completely devastating. And they'll both be out for the playoffs as well. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. Tyreek Hill was beat up. Jalen Waddle has been beat up before. Yeah, I'm taking the Bills, and the Dolphins are falling behind, and they're making the playoffs, but they are going to have to play from behind come playoff time. They're not going to get a home playoff game.
Mm-hmm. Well, you made my exact argument for me here. Yeah, I already had the Bills circled, and you know, even though both of these quarterbacks have had really bad games lately. Josh Allen and Tua absolutely took their names out of the MVP race with that last week. And if not, the past 3 weeks or so, both of them have had down games. But the Bills have the momentum as a team, and they are winning. And that run game looks great. And the tight end receiving game looks great for the Bills, which is something they really have been missing over the past few years. But when Josh Allen is throwing the ball, you know, he's getting it to the tight ends, and they're doing well. And the running backs are great. Like I said, of course, the Dolphins have great running backs. I don't know if Mostert's going to play in this. Devon Achane looked excellent in that loss, which is something to say. But, yeah, I've got 3 disagreements, so I'm going to stick with the Bills and just hope I win those 3 because I really don't think the Dolphins win this as beat up as they are. I think they may even rest up for the playoffs and just hand this one to the Bills. And the division be what it be, I guess. But I'll take the Bills on the road.
It's amazing to think. I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, the Buffalo Bills had like a 20% chance to make the playoffs. And now, if they win this game, I would dare to suggest they're probably going to be they're probably going to have the 3rd best odds in the entire league to win the Super Bowl if they win this one game. And what a rally back that would be, because they make the 2nd seed in the AFC. That means multiple playoff games go through a Buffalo team in the best shape of their season in temperatures that are unique to Buffalo, that they are more used to than anyone else. Man, that is it. They'll be dangerous. They will be very, very dangerous for anyone. And they've shown they can beat everyone, too. Buffalo's looking up big if they win this one, and Miami's looking down big.
That makes me think of the new conspiracy. Have you seen the new logo that they came out with?
Definitely very important.
You know, we talked about the Ravens and the 49ers all season, but they put out a new logo that happens to be blue-red with a little yellow speck, leading some people to believe... yeah, I just saw it earlier today, but... leading some people to believe that we're going to get a Bills-Rams Super Bowl.
Wait, how did they get the Rams with red in there?
Well, the Bills blue and red, and then that tiny little yellow strip for the Rams.
Oh, no. If it's blue and red, it's Bills-Niners. I'm not getting talked out of the Niners. I'm not getting talked out of the Niners. I will admit, though...
These are both 2 underdog teams that no one wants to play in the playoffs. So
that is correct.
We could have the underdog Super Bowl coming into this one, man.
I kind of don't want that.
Oh, I bet you don't.
I do not want that. I feel like the Niners have an exceptionally good chance of winning this NFC, and I would like to have that title. So I will admit this. the more I look at it, if I got to ban one team from the NFC playoffs, a single team that the Niners are not allowed to face, I would pick the Rams.
Yeah.
That's a team I'm least confident against. I know that we can beat the Eagles. I know we can beat the Cowboys. We've done that badly, both of them. Like, Detroit is good, but I think they're just a slightly worse version of the Niners at almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about, like, any of these scraps, like Packers and Seattle and the Saints or Tampa, God forbid, Tampa Bay. It's just the Rams. That's the one team I don't want to play.
Yeah.
That's the one team I don't want to play.
Wouldn't that be amazing, though? I mean, put your feelings aside for the Rams. The Bills and the Rams, probably mid-season, nobody would have given them a chance to make it there, right? Not even make the playoffs, either one of them. And here we are, they are both making the playoffs. And they're teams that nobody wants to face. We could see both of them go on a hot streak and end up playing in the Super Bowl.
The problem is, too, like, very likely, the Rams will play at Dallas in the wildcard round. They're playing at the big fraud team, and they can easily win that game.
Yeah.
And then they go directly to San Francisco if they do.
Yeah.
I don't need one. I don't want to see it.
Got me contemplating changing my pick for this week to the Rams.
I
don't know.
Like, okay, even then, like, the Niners have an overwhelmingly favorable record against the Rams in recent years, but any given game, right? So I don't want to see them. I do not want to see them. I'd much rather any other team make the playoffs. But then again, if you want to win a championship, you got to beat every team in the conference. Doesn't matter who's showing up. So
yeah,
we'll see about that. How many disagreements do we have?
We have 3.
Exactly.
Unless I change my 49ers pick to the Rams, but I don't know. That's dangerous because I know how Shanahan does with. I mean, Sam Darnold's a good quarterback, man, but what if the Rams pull this off? You know what? Is it okay to change my pick? Can I just go ahead and get off of the... Man, it's at home, though. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to do it. Is it cool if I change my pick from the 49ers to the Rams?
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right. I'm going to do that. So we have 4 disagreements.
Okay.
Yes.
You know what would be amazing if I ended up winning by a point because the Niners win?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I need 3, so... Oh, man. That means I need all 4 of them, huh? That's okay. They're all going to win. And if not, I'll get you in the playoffs. That's
true. Maybe. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But you're welcome to take anyone that's not the Niners at any point.
All right.
I'm perfectly cool with that. So we have 4 disagreements. For everyone watching, please leave your comments, all your picks on all these games in the comments below this video. Let us know who you think is going to make the playoffs. It's the week of destiny. That's what everyone's been playing for nearly half a year. So a lot of exciting ones to look forward to for this week. Do we have anything to add for this week, 18?
No, I think that's it for this week.
All right. Next week, we'll be back in usual circumstance with the real microphone and the whole real production art assets and everything, which currently I don't have access to. So that's coming back next week just in time for the playoffs. I'm excited. We're all excited. Thank you for watching, and we're going to see you in the next one.
Deuces.